Welcome. So in this part, I'm going to go through another example of using the unitary method and the fractions method. If you're feeling comfortable, you might want to try this for yourself and then just check if you've got the answer correct. But if you feel feeling a bit rusty on it, feel free to follow my working. So remember, when we're using the unitary method, the first thing that we're going to do is find the total amount of parts. So total parts. So in this question, we're told that we need to divide 30 meters in a ratio of 2 parts to 3 parts. So it's going to be 2 plus 3, which is 5. That means 5 parts is equal to 30 meters. The next thing that we do in our unitary method is find what one part is going to be equal to. To find what one part is equal to, well, obviously to go from 5 to 1, I'm dividing by 5. Whatever I do to one side, I must do to the other. What is 30 divided by 5? Well, 30 divided by 5 is 6 meters. The next thing I'm going to do is find, well, what is 2 parts going to be? 2 parts is going to be, well, what I'm going to ask myself is, how do I go from 1 to 2? I times by 2. So that means I'm going to times this side by 2. That's an ugly arrow. So that means 6 times 2 is 12. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to write 12. So that means 2 parts is equal to 12. I now need to figure out what 3 parts is going to be. So let us again remind ourselves that 1 part is equal to 6 meters. So if I want to figure out what 3 parts is going to be, 3 parts, what I'm going to do is go, how am I going from 1 to 3? I'm timesing by 3. So on this side, I will likewise times by 3. 6 3s are 18. So I'll put 18 here. And that means what my final answer is going to be is 12 meters and 18 meters. And that is it. That is how we do it. So we have divided 30 meters in a ratio of 2 to 3. We have figured out by using the unitary method that 2 parts is going to be 12. So that is 12 there. And we have figured out that 3 parts is going to be 18. And that is that there. Remember the checks we can now do to reassure ourselves that we have done it correctly. Remember the ratio we started with was 2 to 3. Well, are these equivalent? And sure enough, they are. I'm just timesing both sides by 6. So that one checks out. And the other check that we can use to double check that we have done this correctly is to add together these numbers. So 12 and 18, and if we've done it correctly, it should be what we started with. So remember, it should be the total of what we started with, which is 30, and sure enough, 12 plus 18 is 30 meters. So that means we've done it correctly. That is going to be my answer, 12 meters and 30, so 12 meters and 18 meters. Perfect. Let's now go through the other way of answering this question, which is the fractions method. The fraction method starts off in the same way. You find the total number of parts, You do that by adding together 2 and 3, which is 5. Now, if I want to find 2 parts and 3 parts, well, what I'm doing is, for this 2 right here, is I'm finding 2/5 of 30 meters. And we know that that is the same as going 2/5 times 30 on 1. Now I do some cancelling. So I'm going to go 5 divided by 5 is 1. 30 divided by 5 is 6. Remember that when you are multiplying fractions, you multiply the numerator. So 2 and 6 is 12. And then you multiply the denominators. 1 times 1 is 1. So that means I'm going to get 12 meters here. So that is for my 2 parts. And now for my 3 parts, I'm going to go, what is 3/5 of 30? So I write that out. 3/5 times 30 on 1. I then do some cancelling. So I go 5 divided by 5 is 1, 30 divided by 5 is 6. So that means I'm going to get 3 times 6 is 18. 1 times 1 is 1, 18 meters. So that means it's going to be 12 meters to 18 meters. And that's what we found in the unitary method. We got the same answer. 2 parts was 12 meters and 3 parts was 18 meters. Hopefully you were successful in answering that and you're feeling a bit more comfortable with using either of these. If you just like the unitary method, feel free just to use the unitary method. Don't feel you need to use the fractions method. It's just another way that you could do it, but all you need to make sure that you master is one of them. And I think I would recommend mastering the unitary method. Hopefully you found this useful, and I'll see you in the next part.